Thanks for joining us on National Focus. I'm Kerdisha. Coming up, universal health coverage seen as a universal necessity. Prime Minister Hon Roosevelt Skerrit reports on the 35th CARICOM heads meeting and condemns opposition statement as inciting violence. Stay tuned for these and other stories after this.
Did you know the Caribbean Court of Justice is two courts in one? The CCJ has two functions: an original jurisdiction, which deals with your right to move between CARICOM countries freely and your right to move your money and your business. This is the basis of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, and the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, and an appellate jurisdiction to hear appeals from courts of those countries which decide to use it as their final court of appeal and no longer go to the Privy Council. All CARICOM member states who have signed the agreement establishing the CCJ are members of the CCJ.
Thanks for staying with us. Dominica's Prime Minister Hon Roosevelt Skerrit is reporting that a number of issues were addressed at the 35th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM, which took place in Antigua last week. Most notable to the nation's leader was the first strategic plan for the Caribbean community for the period 2015 to 2019.
That plan speaks to a number of areas of focus, and it encapsulates a number of the areas identified by the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas. And that will allow for the Secretariat to be more focused in its work, and also the issue of allocation of resources would certainly be assisted by this strategic framework. Now, when you read the strategic plan, you realize that it is work in progress. So it is not a new plan, so to speak. It's simply putting into document for the first time a plan so that we can be more focused in advancing the work of CARICOM.
Honorable Skerrit also revealed to the press on Monday that a trade agreement between CARICOM and Canada was also discussed by the regional leaders.
The deadline for signing off the agreement ended on June 30th, 2014. But we have been able to agree on more than 70% of the matters that were up for negotiations between CARICOM and Canada. There are a few areas where some CARICOM states, including the OECS, have certain concerns, and we're looking forward to the concurrence of the Canadians to settle this negotiation so we can in fact sign this cooperation agreement. But we believe that we expect some positive feedback from Canada in that regard because of the long-standing relationship which exists between CARICOM and Canada. We expect those matters to be resolved very, very, very smoothly so we can move to signing a cooperation and trade development agreement with Canada.
Of equal importance to the small island developing states is climate change and the post-2015 development agenda. A major conference on SIDS is scheduled for September in Samoa. Ahead of that meeting, Honorable Skerrit said regional heads were able to agree on the approach.
This has been going on for a very long time, and we have not seen any light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak, in respect to the developing world giving due cognizance to the challenges confronting small island developing states. So we will be going into some more for very coherent and unified voice, but also a very strong voice, that we need to come to a point where we can start seeing tangible benefits of all the discussions we've had in respect to small island developing states. Climate change and the effects of climate change is causing serious harm to all our countries. The disasters affecting agriculture in terms of drought, heavy rainfall, and other natural disasters.
According to Honorable Skerrit, CARICOM heads of government have agreed that a unified foreign policy is a valuable undertaking for small islands.
It has been felt, look, having missions across the world, each of us having missions across the world, is a costly exercise. It's costly for even countries like Barbados and Trinidad and so forth. And there's a view that we should look at having one single mission representing the whole of CARICOM where practicable. I don't want to mention countries now, but in country A, if we have a mission, should we not be able to have that mission representing the whole of CARICOM rather than each of us having a mission in many respects which we cannot properly staff in any way. And therefore it's something that we have to look at, the discussions on this, and we've asked the foreign ministers to revisit this again, discuss the details, see where we could cooperate and collaborate, and come back to the heads at our next meeting to see whether we can advance this.
At that meeting, Dominica's songbird Michael Henderson Del Sol performed her winning CARICOM song for the first time. Honorable Skerrit publicly congratulated Michael on her personal and national achievement.
It was really a source of pride to see yet again a Dominican having made it at this level, and I can tell you all the heads of government were full commendation to her and to Dominica in the manner in which she performed.
Prime Minister Hon Roosevelt Skerrit says he is not taking lightly statements made by opposition candidate Danny Luce. Speaking to the press on Monday, Honorable Skerrit described the remarks as extraordinary.
We find it extraordinary that people will make those very brazen statements inciting violence against people, and literally talking about killing people, about violence and so forth. At no time have you heard myself or any member of my party speak about violence or encouraging violence. At no time.
The nation's leader says Luce's statement ought to be strongly condemned, particularly due to the seriousness of such violence-inciting statements.
If men want to come and fight in elections, we must fight in elections. Fight in elections on ideas, on policies, on programs, on achievements, on aspirations. That's what we've been doing. Whenever you hear me speak as the leader of the party, we speak about how we're going to advance and improve the way of life in this country. These guys recognize that everything that they have put forward have been rejected by the people because the ideas and suggestions they made make no sense. They have a leader who doesn't understand what governance is, what running a country is about. You have a group of men who were seeking to get employed through this means, and they're not getting traction. And their only recourse is to preach violence. And are we taking those threats seriously?
The Prime Minister says Luce ought to be questioned by police on his intentions based on those threatening remarks. Honorable Skerrit does not believe Luce's remarks are spontaneous or isolated, but are evidence of the opposition's desperation. The Labour Party leader called on government supporters to refrain from acts of violence. Every country is charged with having to define its own roadmaps and targets when it comes to universal health coverage. This statement was made at a national consultation by Pan American Health Organization representative Shirley Augustine. The consultation focusing on implementing universal health coverage was held last week, facilitated by the Ministry of Health in collaboration with the Pan American Health Organization. Augustine noted that one of the various ways UHC can be applied is by providing care to walk-in patients in addition to those in the out districts.
The predominant model of care in most of our countries is based on episodic care for acute conditions, often making excessive use of technologies and specialized physicians. Universal health coverage is recommending that we shift from patient-centered care to people-centered care, where our care is based on the identified needs of the people in our community and not just those who are coming into the healthcare facilities for treatment.
She also stated that discovering its own goals when it comes to universal health coverage is every country's job.
Every country is charged with having to define its own roadmap and targets, taking into account its social, economic, political, legal, historical context. So it's not a one-size-fits-all, because every country, although in the Caribbean we have similarities, we also have a lot of differences. So that has to be taken into account.
PAHO Director Dr. Kerdisha Etienne revealed the need for universal access to health services without the burden of financial hardship.
Universal health coverage means that all people and all communities have equitable access to the comprehensive and guaranteed quality services they need throughout the life course without financial hardship. I believe that this is the right time for this necessary debate. Our member states are working for more equitable access to health services in response to public demand.
The conference was held at the Ministry of Health's conference room. Francine Barron, Miss Dominica 2014, has added another feather to Dominica's cap by capturing the 2014 Miss CARICOM pageant. Barron outperformed the 9 other contestants to capture the title at Friday's competition in St. Vincent. At a press conference held on Monday, Barron described her experience at the competition.
We had the opening number, which we had to wear our national wear for, but that was not judged. Then we had our talent and swimwear, evening wear, and then interview question. I got the best in swimwear, which is very, very good, and the Miss Congeniality, as I said. We were told before that the winner isn't the person who got the most awards, it will be the person who got the most points. So from that we knew that you could get 1 point ahead of your opponents and be victorious, regardless of the fact that they might have 2 more prizes than you did, so on. So it was really consistency that was the key to winning Miss CARICOM, and as we saw, that consistency paid off.
Barron also revealed that her preparation for the pageant, although stressful, was worth it in the end.
In terms of preparations, it was basically the same routine as Miss Dominica. However, it was more stressful because I was teaching at the Tetmon Primary School. Only now we're on summer vacation, so I have more time to go to the gym and do all the things that I have to do. But it was really difficult getting from Tetmon, and those who know the area, it is hard to get a bus to go down to town. But I managed, and we did what we have to do. Sometimes I would have to go to Portsmouth for practice, or the Old Mill Cultural Center, or Arawak, so it was a lot of work.
The reigning queen noted that her 2014 platform had a great deal to do with her confidence level in approaching the Miss CARICOM pageant.
My platform for the Miss Dominica pageant was youth empowerment and development, reaching your highest achievement. And I didn't choose that platform because I had no other choice or because someone chose cancer already or sports. I chose it because it was dear to my heart, because I see what we do to our young people every day. We bring them down, they make a mistake one time and we write them off. That is it, they are no good, but that is not right. And as a young person representing the country, we have to rally around our girls, because when we get to the islands, we share stories with the other queens and you hear how they are treated on their island. Some have it as bad as I thought I did. Some have it better, but at the end of the day, we do it for ourselves, for our families, and for our future. So, to the young people listening, and if they are seeing me, I just want them to know that don't let society bring you down, because you are the one who has to live with your defeats, and you're also the one who live with your victories. So you just have to do what is best for you in the long run.
CEO of the Discover Dominica Authority and Director of Tourism, Colin Piper, is excited about the upcoming pageant and encourages Miss Dominica to strive for the best.
We look forward now to Miss JC's, which is going to be next, and as the Queen mentioned, Dominica crowned Dominica in St. Vincent, and maybe Dominica will crown Dominica in Antigua as well. So not to put any pressure on you, but just continue to do your best.
You're right.
And with Team Francine, you know, in the background, certainly helping her to do what it is that she's been doing. We hope that we emerge victorious again.
Miss Dominica also captured the awards for Miss Congeniality and Best in Swimwear. The Dominica Peace Corps, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, is conducting a 5-day Students at Risk Mediation Techniques workshop, which convened at the Dominica Grammar School on Monday. Assistant trainer and member of the Peace Corps in Oregon, USA, Mary Forst, highlighted the main purpose of the workshop.
This is a 5-day mediation training that is actually 2 trainings in one. The first 3 days is teaching people how to be mediators in conflict resolution in the workplace, in their own workplaces. The last 2 days will be helping them learn how to train students to be mediators in the schools. And they'll actually, in those last 2 days, be experiencing the training that they will then present at their schools. So this is kind of a 2-pronged training.
The assistant trainer noted that learning mediation techniques will better position individuals to quickly and easily resolve conflict. She believes that the workshop will inevitably have a positive effect on the lives of individuals and the education system.
I think unresolved conflict has a great price on people. People are unhappy about coming to work. They don't give their best. Students, if they're in conflict with each other in the schools, they're not getting their needs met. So I think if we have good conflict resolution, we can help people feel more productive at work and feel happier in their lives, as well as students getting better relationships with each other and be able to concentrate on their schoolwork.
The main objective of the workshop is to train students on how to be mediators within the school. Forst, who has been a trainer for over 30 years, says the training, which has been implemented in other countries, has shown successful results.
Recently, I've started doing trainings where I actually have people in the trainings who were trained as students in school 20 years ago, and they make the best mediators. Students learn to do this so quickly and so well. It's like really astounding. So, I appreciate that, and it's very helpful in the schools. Schools that have a mediation program, the discipline rates go way down, the problems with students go way down, so it's very successful in the schools where it's been tried. And some teachers are kind of resistant because it's a question of giving up their power, and then when they realize, and actually what they give up are their headaches, they're much happier with it, so it's proven to be very successful.
She expressed hope that the participants will acquire the necessary tools to teach students to resolve conflict, as well as enhance their confidence in their own ability to help others. 2 members of the Peace Corps, Rebecca Sweetland and Karen Hadden, will be this week's facilitators. A total of 17 individuals, including counselors from the Ministry of Education, teachers from the Dominica Grammar School, and other counselors from 8 to 10 other schools across the island, are currently being trained at the workshop in mediation techniques. And before we leave, here's an announcement from the Department of Local Government. Applications are invited from suitably qualified persons for the position of Point Michel Village Council Clerk. Applicants should possess 4 GCE O-level passes, grades A, B, and C, or 4 CXC O-level passes, general proficiency grades 1, 2, and 3, or basic proficiency level 1. They should be skilled in typing and in the use of computers. Strong oral and written communication skills, along with being community-oriented, would also be an advantage. Applications with detailed curriculum vitae should be submitted to the chairman of the Point Michel Village Council or Department of Local Government and Community Development on High Street, Roseau, no later than Friday, July 2014. And that's the English news. McPherson said Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi, c'est McPherson Saint-Luce. Premièrement, Premier Minister Hon Roosevelt Skerrit a condamné bien fort vieille parole violence au sénateur opposition Danny Luce. Hon Skerrit fait parole pour médias qui parole Luce bien extraordinaire. Premier ministre a dit parole Luce supposé condamner et spécialement sérieux ça a inspiré sentiment violence. Et d'ici gouvernement voulait courir élection, il aussi supposé faire ça qu'à discuter bagaille développement et puis pas violence. Honorable Skerrit dit police supposé sectionner Luce sinon c'est vieux parole cela. Et des paroles Luce ces manifestations comme opposition là bien désolé qu'on peuple Dominique pas qu'à point sérieux et puis parole et programme négatif ailleurs. Premier ministre Skerrit Kawan Makouye à ces moun qui a supporté les partis Dominique pour pas engager quoi en affaires violence. En autre nouvelle, organisation CARICOM mettait programme pour parler et puis on seule voix qu'a concerné le développement pour ces pays-là. Parole celle-là sorti de commissioner Labour Matthew Leblanc.
Cet objectif là, c'est pour nous tenir en voie en politique internationale, même voie là. Ça veut dire, l'Antigua parler, Dominique parler, Barbade parler, Jamaïque parler. Nous tous mettons voix nous ensemble, nous gagnons plus fort voix. Et bien ça aussi qu'a fait nous respecter nous plus parce que nous sommes plus force les nous ensemble. L'autre objectif c'était pour établir un marché commun. Ça c'est entre ces pays là pour nous vendre produits nous, pour eux même qu'à ça vendre produits sans nous ni pour payer un peu de taxes pour entrer ces produits là en divers pays. Les autres pays étrangers qui veulent vendre bah nous, ils sont obligés de payer taxes pour entrer vendre ça yoni. Mais nous même entre nous car vendre nous ça mener produits aller Trinidad ou ça mener produits aller Antigua ou ça mener produits aller Barbade ou même ça mener produits venir ici. Tout ça nous qu'a fait, tout ça nous capable faire, tout ça nous connaître nous état fait. Nous ça vendre, nous ça aller travailler un pays, ça venir travailler un pays, ça nous couiller ça en common market.
En autre nouvelle, le département CIDA Dominique a tenu une consultation pour développer un plan pour combattre l'épidémie SIDA en Dominique. On cérémonie chaîne bon matin là, qui était par World Permanent Secretary Minister Santé Helen Roye, Elizabeth Conklin qui parlait contre objectif plan là, et puis coordinateur département SIDA Dominique Jolie Frampton qui bat un update l'état SIDA en Dominique.
Nous avons parlé avec nous pour nous voir ça nous a fait, comment nous a fait et ça nous a fait meilleur. So, nous pas qu'à faire PS plan 9 si nous pas parler avec nous pour faire dire nous ça yo te que voulez voir un programme HIV Dominique. Nous avons expecté moun qui dit nous ça nous fait si t'es bon, si pas t'es bon et si nous avons parler avec correct moun et ça nous a fait pour improve ou faire meilleur HIV programme Dominique.
Et puis finalement, le ministre de l'Éducation a mis en place pour adresser les étudiants qui n'ont pas fait bien à l'école. Parole celle-là sortie du ministère de l'Éducation, Honorable Peter Saint-Jean.
Généralement, en éducation en Dominique, en ministère de l'Éducation, nous travaillons pour nous voir qui façon, qui laisse manière, nous sommes adresser ces difficultés, ces problèmes enfants, pas simplement en mathématiques, mais en tous ces sujets-là, nous avons fait. Et pour raison ça là, nous, ni officiers, nous, ça nous a créé education officer, quand aller à l'école là, aider ces teachers de l'école là, nous avons fait workshop et différentes manières pour nous adresser problèmes, manières enfants qui travaillent. Puisque réellement, nous voulons une société là, tous les enfants, tout le monde, ça fonctionne effectivement en société ça là.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson, Luce. Au revoir.
Coming up next, tips on food storage during the hurricane season.
Did you know the Caribbean Court of Justice is two courts in one? The CCJ has two functions, an original jurisdiction, which deals with your right to move between CARICOM countries freely and your right to move your money and your business. This is the basis of the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, CSME, and the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, and an appellate jurisdiction to hear appeals from courts of those countries which decide to use it as their final court of appeal and no longer go to the Privy Council. All CARICOM member states who have signed the agreement establishing the CCJ are members of the CCJ.
You asked for it. See more evidence of development right here on the Government Information. Government Information. Government Information. Government Information. Government Information.
In the event of a hurricane, the last place you want to be is standing in long lines at the supermarket, or even worse, encountering empty shelves because of a last-minute decision to get prepared. Experts suggest that your hurricane food supply should be stocked with at least 2 weeks' worth of food prior to the start of the hurricane season. Hurricane food needs to be stored in a way to prevent spoilage. During a hurricane, the storm may cause power outages that could last for days. Without electricity, refrigerated food will spoil quickly. Items that are not only non-perishable but also easy to serve are important for home food storage during the hurricane season. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Friend us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GISNewsDominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the GIS News production team, I'm Kerdisha St. Louis. Thanks for watching.